got Richard Bass. You know what he wants to hear from you and from me, I guess. He's got Mark and Logan. What do you guys think about Coach Norvell not looking for a good quarterback? Nothing against JT, but he needs to stay healthy.
No, I think Richard's bringing a good point here, and I've been trying to do this. Jason doesn't listen to me, but I have said biggest knock with Jordan Travis, he's got to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing, is staying 4 quarters. First quarter, second quarter, just staying healthy throughout a whole game. And that's something that Florida State, I think, is going to look into the portal. Most certainly, we expected this, and we'll see what kind of move they're going to make. But it's hard to recruit a player, definitely a quarterback. Quarterbacks are like your DBs. They want to get their playing time, and they're prissy a little bit. These guys want to come in and start. Do they want to sit behind and be QB2 again? Most of these quarterbacks that are leaving, they want to go play and start right away. So it's hard to kind of recruit in that realm. Florida State was able to do it with Alex Hornibrook, but I think that was a different kind of time. Florida State, has their solidified starter with Jordan Travis this time, but who's going to be behind him? It's not going to be a guy, you see JT Daniels going to West Virginia, that would be nice. Yeah, that would have been nice for FSU, but that's just not going to happen. This, Coach Atkins talked about it, Florida State's offensive line coach and now new offensive coordinator, said today to us in our meeting saying, this isn't Mike Norvell's offense. This isn't the Alex Atkins offense. This is the Jordan Travis offense. And that's the direction that they're going. But the health concerns for Jordan Travis is something that, are hurt. Did he put on some pounds? Does he look better in size, more explosive? Yeah, he looks good this spring. And then it's still pretty early on from this last offseason. I'm really looking forward to seeing him develop in that weight room. Doesn't need to do much. I don't want quarterbacks doing too much on him, but put on some size a little bit and working on whatever needs to be done inside that recovery room, rehab, whatever makes it so that he has a little bit better of a build heading into next season. But I do agree, Richard, we got, Florida State's got to have another option, I think, right now at QB2. I think that's something we can maybe talk about. We have a long offseason ahead, sadly. We've officially made it through spring. So it's now we find stuff to talk about kind of next couple of months. But QB2 should be definitely heavily discussed, because I was not overall, pleased. I don't feel comfortable if I were to be a coach saying, hey, I feel really good about my QB2 option. And that sucks, because you also weren't able to go in the transfer portal and bring one in to the spring to develop them and understand the playbook. So now you're really, you got to start getting them early if you're going to make those moves. And right now, I haven't really looked at the list. Now that spring camp's over, we'll look and see what kind of options are out there that fits Florida State's offense. But it can't be someone that, is looking to come in and start it. Maybe it is, and you have them go and battle with Jordan Travis, but I just don't know how well that is going to work with the kind of team chemistry you already have with Jordan Travis. That is your biggest leader on the team. And then you say, hey, I'm bringing him in to come compete for the starting job and take away. That's fine. I mean, I'm all for competition. I like that. And I don't think Florida State should be a program where that can't happen. This is Florida State. And if you're going to start, you got to compete for it. So I'm just more worried about, Florida State doesn't have a QB2. And, Duffy had little signs, but he had a true freshman spring camp. You weren't expecting much of him, but maybe just a few things here and there. And Roddermaker, I didn't see any growth, in my opinion, on that stage. And that's not great to hear. That's just not great. And I know some other reports from other places and such, but, you can hear it from James. You've heard it from definitely some other people that I think know what they're really talking about. This camp we didn't go anywhere on the QB2 route. And that's something that is going to have to be worked on this offseason.
Yeah, it is, because for as much as we want Jordan Travis to play the whole season, and like you say, he's got to figure out a way to know when to put a shoulder down versus run out of bounds, protect himself, do the smart thing, stay in the lineup for 12, hopefully more games than that. You can't fall apart because you've gone to your second quarterback. You can't fall apart if you lose your starting quarterback. You got to be a good enough football program and a football team that, of course, there's a reason your starter's your starter. there's a drop off to the second guy, but the second guy's got to be capable. And yeah, it's kind of tough to see that. And you know so much more about it and have evaluated those guys. I'm just going off of, you know, your feedback, but also what I saw on Saturday. And yeah, to try to pluck away a guy that's going to be a backup somewhere else to sell them on being a backup, most likely in Tallahassee, could be a tough sell unless they're, you know, that I would think the sales job there, besides money, if you're just looking at playing time, would be the sales job of the dude that's in front of you is definitely gone after this year. You know,
Yeah.
if he's at Alabama, Ohio State, pick your team where the guy's he's in the draft this year. There's no doubt. So, you know, develop for a year, we'll get you ready. Who knows, you're a play away all the time, but then you're definitely going to be the guy or be in the fight for it next year. But I don't necessarily know that this is the place for that even to
Yeah.
sell that.
Yeah. No, it's a tough situation that Florida State's in, but you know, you got to find your you got to find who's going to be behind. Yeah, no, there's something that just broke right now. Marius Mims is here in Tallahassee, it looks like. I think I could go ahead and share this now, but I was told to keep this kind of under wraps a little bit, but it's already out and open. Florida State and primarily Rising Spear is supposed to be meeting with Marius Mims. Kind of was hinting at that earlier in the show. And that meeting is supposed to happen a little bit later this evening. I know Florida State and Mike Norvell are linking up with him right now. I believe it's all on Twitter as we speak. But Marius Mims, highly touted offensive lineman, Georgia transfer, is going to pick Florida State to be the first team to visit over the reported other team, Miami. We'll see if that visit still ends up happening. But we talked about how this relationship is between Florida State, Coach Atkins, Norvell. It's very, very tight. So this does not shock me to have Mims here. But I was told earlier today that there was indeed going to be a meeting between Mims and the Rising Spear in Florida State. Kind of was trying to keep it under wraps there. Sometimes it's risky. It's risky, Mark. You try to be the good one, the good person, but then you're like, God, I wish I could say something. But yeah, that's happening right now as we speak. So that's big. That's big, and you know. We'll see. And I'm also interested too, because this is definitely a very, very talented guy. What was the main reason for him leaving Georgia? I wish we could kind of get some insight on that too, because I also want to know the other side of things with him. So that's always the next question. What led you to wanting to enter that transfer portal?
Yeah, the only thing I read online when he announced was that you know, Georgia's done with their spring as well. They're wrapping up this Saturday. That there was pretty much not a path to the field for meaningful big reps for him.
Yeah, and that's what makes sense for maybe to go ahead and get the transfer portal opened up and see that option. And that's why Florida State's in a really good spot. And you know, we'll see how his relationship is with Cristobal. If it does end up being the place where he visits next, you know, Florida State's the one thing about Florida State that has hurt him, and as a staff, Coach Norvell, is that, you know, you're able to have a really great visit, and these players say, "Oh, I'm going to put Florida State number one," but they can't finish it off and have them go visit other places last, and then it ends up not working in their favor. This is something Florida State should try to seal off right now. This is it. This is where you get the commitment down. It's over. You know, you seal things off right now. And that's something I think Florida State, Mike Norvell, that's their next fix. They've done a great job of building these relationships, having them on campus, doing everything there to where they're putting FSU at the top of their list, but then they go off and visit other places. Gotta seal the thing off right now as fast as you can, and don't allow them to get out of your grip. And we'll see if Florida State can do it. Coach Atkins, Coach Norvell, spring camp is over. Now it's full force into this transfer portal and building this team definitely offensively. And as we've known for years, getting back on track on the offensive line would be key for this running back room, which we've learned probably this spring might be your X factor on offense heading into 2022.